Who was the comedian who said, "Well, hello there"? Um, I don't have an answer. I was asking the question. I don't really know. Today is the 25th of June. That means it's journal number 90, T+84, 16 days to go. Um, Kind of frustrated, um, bordering on angry maybe, which I know is not like me. I don't like the way it feels, quite frankly. After I got my PIC line flushed, you know, we went ahead and decided to do something different for a change, recognizing that we had to be really cognizant of any kind of gardening or work like that. We decided to go to the LA Arboretum, which is just down the freeway from where we're staying. And it's an incredible place. I mean, it's just a marvelous place to go for an afternoon or a morning. I had to go in the morning because I'm not supposed to be out in the sun after a certain time, and it was overcast enough so that I didn't have to worry too much about that as long as I was all bundled up with long sleeves and enough suntan lotion to slather up a whale. Sunblock. They don't call it suntan lotion anymore. They call it sunblock these days. That's not what I'm angry about. I'm not angry about going to the Arboretum. I was frustrated and probably bordering on angry because walking the 2+ miles that we walked through the Arboretum was exhausting. It was frustrating as hell because I was, at one point almost gasping for breath. I'm glad I was wearing a mask because it wasn't quite so obvious. Um, and the problem is not the anger or the frustration because that's almost to be expected at some point. Uh, what you do with that, how do you direct that in a positive way, uh, is another is another issue, and probably come back to that in a little while. The question is, who do you get angry at? I mean, who are you frustrated with? Realistically, it's a function of the bone marrow transplant. Low hemoglobin is something that I got very used to over a long period of time before I came out to the City of Hope for the transplant. One of the problems with primary myelofibrosis is that as the inside of the area where the marrow produces normal operative expression, normal red blood cells and hemoglobin, um, keeps shrinking because of the disease and the scarring, your hemoglobin starts to go down. Um, I would say naturally, but there's nothing natural about the disease. So, I mean, do you get mad at the doctors because of the transplant and the fact that your body's recovering based upon the donor stem cells, and you're starting to see increases in platelet counts and other uh, key elements of the, complete blood workup? Uh, I don't think you can. I don't think it's reasonable. I mean, I have a certainly looks like I have a new outlook on life. It looks like everything's moving in the right direction. There's a reason that they say it takes a year for this process to take hold and work its way through to some kind of normal. So I certainly can't get angry at that. I mean, it's like getting angry at the guy who just cured you. It doesn't make any sense. Uh, you get mad at your own body for betraying you. Well, yeah, that's possible. I mean, I certainly felt that way towards the end of our trip, our vacation, when I first started to symptomize really aggressively. You can get mad at your body. Doesn't do you a lot of good. Um, I've come to realize that your body really doesn't care whether you're mad at it or not. It's going to do whatever it needs to do based upon whatever's going on at that particular moment. And so I decided while I was walking and while I was huffing and puffing and while I was recognizing that I was a lot more tired than I should be, possibly knowing that I was going to get blood on Thursday or perhaps on Monday, wondering what my readings are going to be after they draw the blood on Thursday to see how much more it's dropped. Um, from the 8.9 immediately after a transfusion to the, to 9.5 to the 8.9 to 8.5 to 8.1, over that period of time, um, trying to figure out how much below 8 it's likely to be. Now, the cool part of all of this is I could feel like a real moron on Thursday and it could be the same 8.1, in which case it would mean that it remains stable, which would be very, very interesting and probably indicative of what was going on in my body, or it could drop way below and I could need the blood. My concern is what happens if I don't get the blood on Thursday, at least Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday before I'm back there. And I don't like feeling exhausted. I don't like feeling tired. I don't like being prevented from doing the things that I like to do, um, like walking through a beautiful garden like the LA Arboretum. But instead of remaining angry, instead of remaining frustrated, somewhere along the way on the ride home um, from Arcadia to Azusa, which isn't that far, uh, I decided to channel all of that negative energy into recognizing how lucky I am for being where I am in my treatment. I mean, if everything continues the way it's going, um, regardless of how terrifying being that far away from the hospital and my doctors might be, considering where I would have been after a year of symptomizing in the disease without the transplant, um, I got nothing to bitch about. So why not take all that energy, take all that frustration, take a little bit of that anger, um, mix it up with a little bit of hope and and perhaps a little optimism. Um, season it with people that you love, my wife, my children, um, and by children I mean all four of my kids, my son and daughter, and their respective partners, our grandkids, um, and sort of grit your teeth, bite down, put your head down, and say, okay, fine, I'm going to take all of that energy and I'm going to put it into walking even though I'm tired. I'm going to put it into doing push-ups even though I'm tired. I'm going to put it into lifting, light weights. And if you want to talk about frustrating, that's right up there. Um, we can talk about that another night. And I'm going to focus all of that on getting better sooner or getting more completely better sooner. Uh, because anger and frustration, in my opinion at least, don't do a damn thing for you. They don't get you closer to your goals and objectives. They don't help you achieve your vision. Um, all they do is sour, corrode your outlook. And you can't have that when hope is the most important ally you have. in getting well when hope and optimism are the difference between getting well and dealing with all the other problems that come along with not getting well. So maybe that's the lesson. Maybe the lesson is to channel all of that energy in a positive direction rather than allowing it to just sit and stew um, in a pity pot while you're feeling sorry for yourself, which doesn't do anybody any good, least of all you. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Stay well and take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Love you all. Bye.